Okay, well, I better do this before I forget and before it gets dark. So today was quite an eventful day, which is the reason why I took no video. So let's begin at the beginning. I had a pleasant stay at a shelter after I was caught in the rain coming into the shelter. And I don't know if I covered this on another video. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But I got caught in the rain and I put my pack in the shelter and I just stood underneath the edge of the roof and I took a shower and I rinsed off all the salt. And that was really helpful. It definitely was, because I was getting chafing everywhere, including on my chest. So hands, everything. It really helped. So had a nice stay in the shelter. We got a 75 sleep score. Got off the launch pad at about 6:30. Everything was good. And then I was moving along really rapidly, even in the rocks, and I made about 4 miles in about 2 hours, maybe a little bit less. And I realized I had left my filtering bag with my water filtering equipment in the shelter. I'd hung it up to dry. So I turned around and I started back rapidly. And after covering 2.5 of the 4 miles, I met up with one of the guys in the shelter, and a guy from Connecticut. And he had my bag with the filter in it. He said, "Boy, I'll bet you're happy to see me." And I said, "You know I am." So a very nice gesture on his part. But I turned around at that point and beat it back up the trail north. And I had added 5 miles to my trip. So decided that I was going to go to the 501 shelter, which was the next one in line. And for some reason, I missed the sign and I went 2 miles past the shelter, ran into a guy who was a random guy. And actually I'd seen him before, said hello. He was slack packing someone else who's a through hiker. And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for the 501 shelter." And he said, "Well, that's you passed it. It's way back there." So came back to the 501 shelter. Now by this time it was lunchtime, past noon, and I realized that I wasn't going to be able to get far enough with the food I had. So I had to do a resupply, and the closest resupply was 4.5 miles away down the road. Either there were 2 towns, one or the other. So I decided to do the resupply. And I started walking on the road, and I walked 2.5 of the 4 miles, and a guy in his pickup truck pulled up. He was on a side street, and he pulled over and he said, "Hey, would you like a ride into town? I know it's only 1.5 miles, but it'll save you some work." So I said, "Sure," and I hopped in the truck, and turns out he's a retired phys ed teacher and wrestling coach, and he's 78 years old, but he dropped me off at the Sheets. So I went into Sheets and I resupplied, not everything that I was looking for, but good enough. And I packed everything up and noticed that on my way back to go back up, which was all uphill, by the way, back to the shelter, there was a Burger King on the way. So I thought, well, I'll just stop in there and get my dinner. And as I was almost passing the Burger King, someone in another car leaned out, a pickup truck, and said, "Hey, would you like a ride back up the hill? I know it's a long way and it's all uphill because I've done it." And I said, "Sure, I would." So another nice guy was in the fur business at Renaissance fairs. So good for him, entrepreneur. And he gave me a ride up that hill, and oh my gosh, he saved me some time and some agony. And so the whole thing turned around in about 2.5 hours, and then I expected I wouldn't have been back until 6 p.m. So now I've got enough food to get me to Port Clinton, plus extra, because the trail is really rough with rocks, and it's slow. And now I'm able to take another day if I need to. So that was the plan. And so today went from about as bad as it could be because of my missing, me forgetting the water filtration equipment and adding 5 miles to my day, and then missing the shelter that I was gonna plan on, and adding an additional 4 miles to the day, and then having to resupply, adding a potential 8 more miles to the day. Turned out to not be too bad. It was a long day of walking, but not necessarily making progress north on the trail, but it did include three very nice gestures from people, strangers, just being nice, and that really is nice. Made me feel good. So now I'm in my tent. I got into the tent fairly early, ate dinner. I'm able to get my act together better in the tent than when I'm in the shelter, and I'm feeling confident again. The only issue is I know the trail's rough ahead, so I need to plan accordingly and cut the mileage expectations, and I'll let you know how that goes.